Well. Welcome back to another edition of Madman with the Show. Zane, your host. Woo! Let me tell you something. Have you ever watched a movie where they have some guy roll into town, a medicine man, or if you ever seen those movies, Music Man, perfect example. If you had,
Animal instinct, mass hysteria. Friends, the idle brain is the devil's playground. Trouble! Right here in River City.
You had a guy roll into town trying to sell you a band, and you know that basically he's pulling your leg.
Gadzooks! What have we here? Oh, doctor. All I'm asking for is a miracle.
All he wants is a miracle, folks. How can I deny him? If he's willing to pay for it, he's gonna get it.
Any price.
$1, sir.
And you just, fall for the hustle. And, when you see something like that and you're like, wow, really, all these people got suckered into buying a band, even though it ended up nice at the end, but they all end up the whole situation. Well, we had the Disney investor meeting this week, and I swear that's what it was. It was just literally, it was just the medicine man coming to town. And I'm telling you, that's what it was. If you haven't watched it, if you get a chance, I'm not going to go really, truly in depth completely. There are plenty of other videos you can catch the in depth. I'm just going to give you a breakdown of some key thoughts that I have concerning this. And we're just going to go a little bit into this. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Like I said, there's plenty of other videos you can catch with all this that's going on, because there was so much to dive into. I could have done several videos on this, but I think it would have just literally, you wouldn't have watched every one of those videos. So we're just going to break it down to some of the things. Now, one thing that, and this is the major thing, and this is the overall that we're going to say, and this is why I say it was a medicine show. They brought in too many properties. Whether it was the Lucasvision, whether it's the Marvel, whether it's the Touchstone, the animated movies and stuff, series and stuff like that, and the Fox stuff. They brought in so much in there. It was like they took whatever was on their table, all the ideas that they had on the table, and then they just said, listen, take this, create panels upon panels upon panels, so we'd be able to say, hey, listen, we got this on the board, we got that on the board, we got this on the board. That basically is wrong, because I'm going to tell you straight out, most of what you saw, if you watched the Disney, I don't think is going to make the light of day. I might be wrong, but I think that is pretty much on target, because right now you have a situation. The one major thing they didn't bring up was they didn't talk too much about the theme parks. Why? They wanted to keep that out of the investor situation. We know they've lost several $1 billion, partly because of COVID, because Disneyland is still shut down. Hong Kong is shut down again. They're trying to shut down the restaurants, the hotels and stuff like that in California. You have so much that's going on. Disney got screwed in California badly. Same thing with Universal Studios. They both those theme parks, they allowed the smaller theme parks to open up, whereas the larger ones they didn't. Whereas Florida's doing fine. It's flourishing okay. You're seeing the crowds, you're seeing the issues. It's not like a major explosion of COVID that's going on in Florida right now. No matter what anyone tells you, all you gotta do is look at what's going on down there. And and the same thing as Universal. You don't hear that much that's going on. In fact, you don't hear nothing on Universal on the East Coast, down in Florida. So that tells you alone all the situations that's going on. Now, take for the losses that you're going on, and then you're pumping the money into this. You're pumping, even though Disney has it, they have the money. They could spend it. But why would you spend that much money on all of this, whereas you have employees you have to pay for, that are just literally starving out there. You've had the major layoffs. You had layoffs over at ABC. You have layoffs straight across. Well, you've shut down Disney Radio. You didn't even talk about that. Disney Radio it's dead. It's gone. It's gone after, I think, probably into the new year. But yet, everything's all fine and dandy the way you heard this, because it's the investors. And the way the mainstream media and the journals talk about it, it's like, oh my God, they won the streaming wars. They've won the streaming wars. It goes to Disney. Nope. Sorry. We're still in this. We are still in a war. And trust me, when I tell you the biggest thought of this whole situation is Japan right now. Anime. We're seeing a big thrust of anime into the US 2021 and even 2020. We got Bleach coming back. We have a Bleach spin-off going on. We have one of the top mangas that are coming out now, the House Husband, whatever the hell that is called, which looks phenomenal, looks funny as hell. Even though they even have a live action of that one. It's about a Yakuza mob boss that gets married and becomes a house husband. In other words, he ends up fixing the house up, cleaning, going shopping, let the wife go out and work. How much trouble can a Yakuza boss get in that way? Brings up the old, they keep pulling me back in, if you remember that from The Godfather. And that is going to be the big emphasis for 2021. It's going to be that, because basically you have to remember, all these companies, whether it's Disney, whether it's HBO and all that, they're going to have to look at animation right now, because that is the way to go. The only thought on Disney is that they're able to create locations on a soundstage now with the green screen backings that they're doing the way they're doing it. We can go back years that they've been doing this a long time on certain movies, and some of it has worked out very well, and some of it hasn't. For Disney, it's worked for The Mandalorian so far. But like I said, there were many properties on there. You're talking about a ton of, mini films, series, and stuff like that. You're talking about a Buzz Lightyear series, of a movie standalone. Why would you do something like that? You've already had a TV series, and the TV series was like, it was so. Why are you going to do that? And so much of the other situations on there. You ain't going to see, the light of day. Then you're hearing that Spider-Man 3, WandaVision, Doctor Strange is going to cross together and somehow with the Marvel Universe. In a way that's good. That's good. That's telling me that you're looking at the fans as far as that point of view, that maybe we're getting the House of M, even though they've talked of Secret Invasion, which I don't know how that's going to work when you have also Kang the Conqueror in the Ant-Man movie. So which is your main villain? What's your Thanos villain for this new series of movies? Is it Kang or is it the Secret Invasion? It's one or the other. One's a series and the other one's a movie. Hey, don't go by me. Go by what they're telling you. No, seriously. That's the misconception of the whole thing on there. And this is the problems that Marvel is having, because they just don't know what one hand is doing to the other. Who's in control now? Ken Feige, I'm okay with him, but still, you can't be doing what you're doing. Especially when you have a Captain Marvel 2, and you're going to bring Monica Rambeau, you're going to bring Khan, and you're going to bring the original Captain Marvel all together and rolling. Are you going to phase Brie Larson out? Are you going to phase her out finally? Monica Rambeau is the true Captain Marvel that you want. Brie Larson should have been Miss Marvel. That would have been the way to introduce the X-Men into the Rogues X-Men into there, because basically she ends up in a coma. Is that what they're going to do with her? I don't know. That was a big thing. They should have put that. That's one of the things they should have put on the back burner. The other half is that basically you heard a lot of the term reboot. You know, you have all these movies, reboot. Oh my God, you know, they're taking some of the touch tone pictures movies and they're going to reboot them. Perfect example, Three Men and a Baby. Three Men and a Baby, if you haven't seen the movie, it's a fantastic film. And I'm not talking the American version. I'm talking about the French version. The original goes back years ago. You know, that 1985 movie, which was very well done, very well made. Then they decided, well, you know, that wasn't good enough. And they did an American remake of that with Tom Selleck, Steve Guttenberg, and Ted Danson, which was okay. Then they did a sequel, Three Men and a Little Lady, which didn't do as well. And now they're touting another version of it with Zac Efron. Why are you going to redo something that just basically, you know, you're going to end up turning it woke. You know, you're going to turn a great French classic into just garbage. And then you're going to do a remake of the villain, you know, Cruella de Vil series, 101 Dalmatians on there. And like I said, you got the Buzz Lightyear, know what it is. And you got many other things on the board that just basically, why, Disney? Why are you doing this? I know you got the touch-tone properties. Bring all that out. And they said they're going to bring those touch-tone properties to Disney+. I don't know how they're going to do the R-rated. I mean, there was supposed to be an 18+, but I guess a lot of things shifted with the HBO announcement. But it looks like they're going to bring Hulu further into, I guess, the site itself, that you'll be able to access it a little bit more easier, and vice versa. And put the R-rated movies across their platform. Because you had movies like Ruthless People, which is a great movie with Danny DeVito and Bette Midler. Fantastic. If you haven't seen that, that is such one of the funniest movies from that era that Disney could have produced. And go back to that era when you had movies like that and Tough Guys with Burt Lancaster. I mean, come on. Burt Lancaster doing a comedy. You know, him teaming up with Kirk Douglas. I mean, this movie was 1986. Lancaster and Douglas in a movie together about two gangsters who basically get out of jail after being in jail for a very, 30 years, and they decide to do one more robbery in the 1980s. To do a train robbery in the 80s. Figure that one out. And it was not the greatest movie in the world, but it had some great parts to it. And it is, like I said, this is the stuff Touch Tone was putting out at the time. You know, they had crazy films like this. They worked. It made some money. Some didn't. And you should just emphasize on that. Put them back out and put a advertisement emphasis on it. I think that would bring more people in, because there are new generations that haven't seen it, and don't matter to basically the Puritans, the Twitter and Reddit Puritans, on saying, "Oh no, you can't have a movie like that. You can't have." Yes, you can have a movie like that because it was already made. You know, you have to enjoy the aspects of these movies, of how they were made. You know, comedy like this, you don't get actors like this anymore like it used to be, because of the way Hollywood has gone. And I said, Hollywood is in ashes. 80s was a great time for movies. Whether it was science fiction, whether it was horror, whether it was comedy, you had some great films out of that era. 90s, you had some good ones in there too as well. But 80s was a real good emphasis on filmmaking. And this was at the beginning. You know, computers were just a little bit in the cradle at this point. So special effects, special editing. I went to broadcast school in this time period in the mid '80s, and you know, you had linear editing and you had non-linear editing. Non-linear, you know, it's the computer, and the only ones that were out there was some of these small, real expensive units, and then you had Avid. Avid had their big unit, which was like $1 million, and the only one in New York. And I got to see the only one in New York at the time. It was a editing studio, and they said Luke at the time. Lucas was coming over, checking it out. Spielberg, you know, they came to work on it every once in a while. So you could tell at that time period, everything was still in development. So you saw a brand new age that was growing out of it. And you had some great filmmaking. You had some great acting on there. What happened? I don't know. Something happened toward the late 90s that just changed everything. They just completely changed everything. And then you see the way it is now. Just diversity, 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 woke, woke, woke. Check this off, check that off. You've seen what's happening at the Oscars. And it's just, and getting into diversity, you saw the focus on all these animated cartoons and say, oh, we got an animated cartoon from Nigeria and this place and that place and that. Why are you focusing on that? Why are you focusing? Because basically they always tell you, well, we weren't diverse enough and all that. Bullshit. There were plenty of movies that, we didn't have enough black superheroes and all that. Yes, you did. They're lying to you. They have been lying to you. See, here's the problem when you're doing superhero series and stuff like that, or movies and stuff like that. Depending on how you write it, some of it works, some of it doesn't. All you gotta do is look back to the original Captain America, the two Captain America movies, the Fantastic Four movie, all the Fantastic Four movies. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And, when you go a couple of times, I would say 2-3 times, that's it. If it doesn't work, that's it. Move on. Just move on. Because, if you continue to pump money into it, look at Fantastic Four. You have an announcement for Fantastic Four coming again in this new Marvel season, series, whatever you want to call it now. And supposedly they're working on it. How is it going to look? How is it going to fold into the MCU? I don't know. Do they bring Galactus in this? I would love to see a true, not the crappy Rise of the Silver Surfer series on there. If you have Disney Plus, catch the Silver Surfer animated series. Now, it's not so great. But that is the direction I would have loved to have seen. I would have loved to have seen that direction. And then you said, well, okay, they're not going to recast Black Panther and all that. Then why are you going to do it? I love T'Challa, and hey, listen, I'm okay that they're not going to recast T'Challa. I'm okay with that. You have a What If story coming out. Very soon from their series that's coming out, and it's animated. That's What If T'Challa was in Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a different take of the situation, which is interesting in itself. But you have the emphasis. Oh, we need to have Wakanda and stuff like that. Yeah, you can put Wakanda into the whole situation, but you don't have to give it a full feature. You don't, because basically, there are many different places, many different worlds, places on Earth and all that are part of the Marvel Universe, but you don't do. There are places that that we can go to, just part of a movie. We don't have to do a full stream movie. I know, Chadwick Boseman died. That was a tragic event, and such a young man, such a young actor who would have had a great career ahead of him, and was taken too soon in life. But that doesn't mean that basically we should press forward for the sake of diversity to go on another one. Let's move in another direction. Let's figure something else out, and not a Black Panther 2. You want to create a side story from Wakanda? That's okay with me. That's fine with me. But don't call it Black Panther 2. Don't do that. And then you have all the animated cartoons. They said, oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Create a good story. Go back to the well. Go take a story from the past, like you've had Snow White, you've had Cinderella. You've had all these great stories for years. You're doing all these live actions. I think they're doing a Pinocchio. I think the Pinocchio was announced too, a live action. We've already had a live action Pinocchio. We've already had that. We don't need another one. We don't need another Pinocchio movie. Plain and simple. Don't go in that direction. There's plenty of tales from throughout the world, plenty of stories throughout the world that you could do. Fairy tales in themselves. Start pulling from them. Start pulling ideas from guys from YouTube. There are plenty of guys on YouTube that have ideas out there. Stop saying, well, we got to be diverse, so we got to go to Mexico, we got to go to Africa, we got to go. Don't emphasize that. If you want to create a story from those countries, that's fine. Don't emphasize it. Go with a story that is a fairy tale from those countries. That's fine. But don't emphasize that it's done for diversity. You're not going to win anybody on that case. That's all you heard from all these people. Day in, day out, all that's going on, But let's move on. The other part of it, this is the one I got to laugh at. I have to laugh at this announcement. We were announced that basically there is an Alien TV series coming to the, I guess the Disney Plus. I don't know if it's Disney Plus or Hulu. I didn't get that part of it completely. But the way they tout it is, it's the first time that Alien has come to Earth. Wrong! And forgetting that they had 2 other films. Not 1, but 2 films. Alien versus Predator on Earth. This shows you what their thinking is at these studios. This is the thinking that they forget that they've done movies in the past already. Now, I understand they're not going to be part of the Alien versus Predator universe. Or are they? We don't know. Most likely, probably not. But you can't sit there and tout, it's the first time the alien is on Earth. But the aliens have already been on Earth according to the first Alien versus Predator movie. That they've been in some sort of suspended animation at the top of the world or the bottom of the world, whichever it is. That they're basically, they're frozen in the Arctic. And then that expedition comes and awakens everything. So when you look at the perspective that they're going to do a series of this nature, okay, you're going to do a series. But take, for example, that the video games didn't do well. They couldn't get their stories right. Alien versus Predator couldn't get it right. Predator came close. As far as this series has gone there. Not Predators, which was a nice story also too, but Predator, the last movie that was done, could have been better, but came a little bit closer to what we wanted. As far as the Alien series goes, the Prometheus and the last 2 films on there were okay, but I've had a lot of questions which I can't answer on this video, which I can't explain or answer on one video alone. It would take me several videos just to go through it, or spend about an hour or 2 just diving into the folklore of Alien. And you look at it and you're like, wow, they're going to do an Alien series. It's going to be great. It's going to be no. I can imagine what the budget is on that alone. I mean, how much, the special effects takes up a lot. Those Alien movies cost a lot of money. To do a TV series, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Battlestar Galactica, the original series, the Lorne Green series, they kept repeating the same attack scenes on pretty much every episode. Why? It cost them too much. Even though graphics today are easier to create on that, but it still costs. You still got to pay people to do the animation work on there, and to create detail animation like on that. Even though it's much easier now, it still costs. It's not easy to do. You got to pay editors, detailed graphic. We've seen so many issues in the entire industry, even in the gaming industry. There are many issues like this. The same thing to the cell shading and stuff like that. When it comes to when you're doing characters on a series, which you're going to animate a piece of it, you're going to use the costumes, but you're still going to have to put some sort of animation on them for them leaping around. You're not going to puppet the whole thing. You're not going to puppet the whole series. But then again, this is Disney. You never know on there. But this is the jokes that that comes to this, that basically they can tout. They say, well, we're going to be the first to have alien on Earth. No, you're not going to be the first. You're not going to be the first. You're not going to tout that. You're telling investors, again, like I said, medicine show. We're going to give you this little swamp water. It's going to cure everything, your baldness and everything like that.
I put my life in his hands. My friends have seen a miracle, and you'll see many more.
This is what they're selling to the investors. Think about this for a minute. Then to get back onto the Star Wars, Marvel universes, when you just not to take away from the alien on there, and it's the same thing that's happening here. Now you have an Ahsoka series, and we're going to discuss the Ahsoka series on another episode, and there's a reason why for that. Then you have the Rangers of the New Republic, which I don't know how that's going to work, and it's supposed to fold into the Mandalorian and Ahsoka. And when I hear Rangers of the New Republic, why is that starting to sound like Babylon 5 for some reason? I don't know why. Then there's the Andor series. Why we're doing this? Why are we doing a character out of Rogue One that we know? Sorry for ruining it. Anyone that has seen Rogue One, that he dies in Rogue One. Why are we doing this? They said, oh, backstory. That's nice. Yeah, but there's so far you can go with it because he dies at one point. Then you have the Lando series, which that's another why. It was supposed to be a solo series, a solo TV series, which might have worked, but now they're pushing a Lando series. The only way this might work is if you get Billy D. Williams to be doing like sort of an Indiana Jones Chronicles type, where he's telling stories of his past. That's the only way this might work. Then this is the one that gets me. A droid story. Do you not know they've already done this? That this has been done. Lucas has done this years ago. Droid Story was out many years ago on Saturday morning cartoon, and it didn't do well. It didn't do well at all. I don't know why they're doing this. This is stuff that's on their table, and they're just throwing it out at you. Like I said, medicine show. The Acolyte, possibly that might be the one that ends up being, if anything, that on the drawing board that you may see. Rogue Squadron may be the other one that would be sort of put into there, but that might take longer than you anticipated because I believe that the director, the person who's going to be helming this, has a couple other projects in the works. Visions, who knows on that. Bad Batch, let me tell you something. The trailer for Bad Batch was as bad as the Batman trailer. You took like maybe a few minutes of maybe one episode and you edited it, or two episodes, and you edited it badly together, and you might have thrown something in from Clone Wars. That just basically, would I like to see a Bad Batch story? Yeah, a real good one. The way this looks like, this is like after 66, and basically I guess it's when the rise of the Empire. Now, the reason I left this one for last, this is the one that I believe is going to be a total joke. The Kenobi series, which most people thought was already scrapped. Why is they bringing this back in again? And then they said, I like Hayden Christensen. I'm glad that they decided to bring him back in canon as an actor, as Vader. But the way they were saying it is that him and Vader are going to go at it again, a third fight. Didn't he die in New Hope? Kenobi is on Tatooine protecting Luke. Why would they get at it again? Unless it's something after Revenge of the Sith and before New Hope, somewhere in between there. But that would throw the canon completely way, way off. And like I said, I don't foresee this series, even though they had a trailer. If this makes it to season 1, I'd be shocked. So like I said, Kenobi and/or Droid story, Visions, I don't foresee. Everything else, probably you'll see them out. Now, getting over to Marvel, pretty much I would have to say, with the exception of Black Panther and maybe Quantum, I don't foresee that out. Pretty much everything else I would have to say is pretty much, it's going to happen. And the other one is, I'm still question mark, is going to be the Fantastic Four movie. I mean, you also have situations on there that you're seeing Tim Roth is returning with Mark Ruffalo for the She-Hulk series, which good casting on there. I mean, I always liked Tatiana Maslany in the show that she had series, that clone series that she did, that was on BBC. It was very good. She's a good actress. She's a very good actress. Do I see her playing as the Hulk? I mean, the She-Hulk. It's going to be mostly that they're going to be CGing her. They're going to be CGing her when she becomes the Hulk. That series alone is going to take up a good chunk of budget, keeping her on there. And they touted that she's a lawyer, per se, that in New York. I mean, are they? Because we've been hearing stories that the Daredevil ban right now, because of the whole contracting between Netflix and Disney, is over now. So basically they can use Daredevil in the series. I mean, are they touting that we're going to see Daredevil characters in the She-Hulk universe? That's the way they were instigating a little bit. I may have gotten it wrong, but that is always a possibility. Now, getting back to Star Wars, if you notice on the Disney investors meeting, they did not put through a new trilogy. Of course not. And we'll be discussing that in the other video. Catch the Ahsoka Tano video I'm going to be putting out. Basically, I will go into detail on it, but safe to say that we're not going to see a Rian Johnson trilogy anytime soon, as far as what's going on. And like I said, it's interesting that they didn't emphasize anything on theme parks or anything of that nature. As much money as they pumped into the theme parks, and they're not doing well at all. That most of them are shut down and to this nature. Then they throw all these announcements, all these series and stuff like that. And, the only boost that they had was that their subscribership is up. And when and everyone's touting us, they've overtaken the subscribers on Netflix. Now, according to what I've found, maybe I'm wrong on there. If you combined what they've gotten, they said they've gotten 86 million subscribers. Combine that with Hulu and ESPN, they're touting about 137 million. But last call I got from April 2020 on Netflix, even with the loss of the subscribers because of the whole cutie situation, they're touting about 183 to 190 million subscribers. They expect, to be beyond that to over 200 million subscribers by next year. Even though like Disney says, we'll be well beyond that and stuff like that, but you're talking, apples and oranges. You don't know what's going to happen in the next year. You don't know if people are going to take to these movie series, understand, are these going to be woke and diversity and clicking all this stuff, and then rather to have a good story wrapped around this movie, with good actors and stuff like that. They're putting pedestals on all these big directors, and they're saying like, yeah, they're going to do well on that. Hey, go out and pipe some new directors. Go out and look for somebody new. There's plenty of guys out there that are doing Star Wars canon very well, better than what you can put out. They do it well in 10 minutes than you do in a whole season of episodes. And, and this is what they don't understand. And this is why they're getting, why television is getting killed by YouTube right now. Because there are good shows on YouTube. There are good canon videos. Why Star Trek fan videos are much better. Vic Mignogna, no matter what you think of Vic Mignogna, he created a great Star Trek series. The stage set is still together. It's there to use for anyone to use if they want to pay to use that set. And it's very well done. It's very well detailed and stuff like that. And if you haven't caught the episodes, go catch the episodes on that and you'll see what I mean, how good they are. Because you won't see anything else like that coming out of these big companies. And when you tout yourself, says, we've gotten this many subscribers, yay! Well, that's good. You got 86 million subscribers. You're beating the shit out of HBO Max. And that's why I said it's you have Netflix, you got Amazon, and you got Disney. Those are the three main, and then I said Tubi and Pluto. These are the companies that I'm telling you that are doing very well on there. Now, how far does this continue for these companies? They've hit 86 million in over a year. I mean, most of it's touted from Hulu and ESPN. And here's the other thing is that they're pumping more money into ESPN. They did make the announcement on that. I didn't go into the detail for overseas. That's a different story, and I'm not going to go into it. There are other videos that you're going to do because they're doing stuff in India. They're doing stuff in other countries. That it's a more complicated situation with Star, and I'm not going to go into that detail, but it's there too as well. But going back to ESPN, why are they pumping money into ESPN when sports are limited to where they're situated right now, and ESPN is not doing well as far as a viable subject? I'm surprised Disney didn't get ripped for that alone, that the investors didn't rip on that. But that's another video in itself. We'll see what happens. But that's a little bit of what I wanted to talk about. We did run a little bit longer than usual that I wanted to. But like I said, this is what's happening. We had a medicine show, and that's what it was. You had the medicine show rolling in the wagon, throughout their wares, and the investors got suckered in for $1. Total sucker in for $1. Now, some of these properties that I mentioned may do well, or it may end up to be a shit show. So you tell me in the comments below, how do you felt about this? And like I said, there's a lot of stuff that I left out. Other videos you can look at those other videos, check them out. They're more detailed. I didn't want to go too far on this because it would spend a lot of time. So, thank you for subscribing. New veterans, thank you for being there. And old veterans, thank you for staying with us. Thank you very much. You guys, you're fantastic. The new veterans that are coming in now, I love you guys too. Don't forget to hit that subscription, hit that like, hit that notification bell, and share this video. Let's try to get to 300. We're about 250 now. I don't know, by this time we'll probably be by 250 by the time I get this video up. Let's push for 300. I would love to have it to be 1,000, but it looks like that's going to be next year. That'll make me down to 700 more subscribers to go, after this. And, you guys have been great. You guys have been commenting. You guys have been coming aboard. You're with me on various platforms. One platform is increasing as far as subscribers. I mean, it's a slow rise on the subscribers. Another one, I'm well on my way to going into the 2,000 category on subscribers. And I thank you for that as well, if you're watching this via that platform. And, see you on the next one. Be sure to catch our other Disney videos. We have that Ahsoka video coming out, and we also have one other discussing the Mandalorian, the future of the Mandalorian. So do catch that. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, and have a good one. Stay tuned for the message afterwards. Bye-bye now. With the holidays well underway, you might be looking for that special gift. Check out our merch store at teespring.com, where we have the new winter gear out. From the Madman Cafe to Madman with the Show. Shirts, hoodies, mugs, and even pillows. Starting on December 2nd, use the promo code XMASCafe to get an additional 15% off till December 24th. All proceeds go to help this channel. That's teespring.com/shopq2cast.